Yeah, he should be happy. He's a tremendous talent, Simon Wills. And just a couple of weeks ago, he was right here on the streets of Adelaide. One of the great support events to the Clipsal 500 for the Formula Holdens. Here's a quick reminder of the circuit layout. 3.22 Ks in length and very similar to the original Grand Prix circuit here. In fact, just a little bit shorter in distance. Emerson Newton-John, one of the rookies in the category this year, had a major moment during the course of qualifying, but he wasn't the only one to have dramas.
Qualifying wasn't so good. A bit of a weight penalty there at the end.
Yeah, I mean, we did an excellent job to get the car in second place. And, I mean, I must say, I've never driven so hard. But, yeah, we're a bit unlucky with fuel. I mean, we just didn't account for the amount that we'd be using in the session. And, unfortunately, we were a couple of kilos underweight at the end. So
that actually put Christian Murchison to the very rear of the grid for that race. Off the front row, Simon Wills, a storming start from the man who is leading this championship after his dominant performance at Phillip Island, the Holden Young Lions driver. That is Rick Kelly in second position. But Wills is only returning to this category for 2 races. Staff having some dramas in the Hockey Motorsport entry. Wills continued to lead the way in the race. He's pulled well clear at this point from Rick Kelly, but he developed some suspension problems. You have a look at the back right-hand wheel. The suspension has had all sorts of dramas, and that allowed Rick Kelly to storm through and take the lead. Wills was forced into retirement. Here's Stuart McCall in the second of the NRC racing entries. Second position for him, and the Telecel Konica entry of young Alan Gurr. Now, Christian Murchison's weekend didn't get any better after being found to be underweight. The second of the Hockey Motorsport Formula Holdens retired, and that allowed this man to walk away with the victory. Rick Kelly for the Barana Engineering team in the car that Simon Wills won last year's championship.
Yeah, it was great. Saw Simon go off and pressed on from there. It was hard to keep Stuart back a bit. He was pretty quick throughout the race, so no, I'm really happy.
Let's see if we can repeat that performance in race 2 of round 2 of the Formula Holden Australian Drivers' Championship. He'll start from pole alongside NRC Racing's Stuart McCall, Alan Gurr and Peter Hill on the second row, Roger Oakeshott and Ian Peters from the third, Emerson Newton-John at the back of the grid.
Emerson Newton-John, you're now at the back of the grid. We've managed to join us here for race 2. What was the drama in qualifying?
About the second or third lap of qualifying, I just simply lost it in the first chicane, and I had a huge one and basically canoed the car. And obviously because of that, I missed the first race because we only had a couple hours in between. But the guys worked their ass off, got the thing back together, and starting from the back. But hey, I'm starting, so I'm going to, do the best I can.
Yeah, let's hope the 26-year-old Californian has a better run in this one. Revs rising. Away they go. Kelly gets off the line beautifully in the Holden Young Lions entry. McCall settles into second position just ahead of Alan Gurr. Keep in mind that Simon Wills is in the second of the Barana Racing entries, and he's already up to 9th position by the looks of it. He started from grid 10 because he had some massive suspension dramas in race 1, Craig Lowndes. So Rick Kelly off to a terrific start.
Well, he is. He's got a clean start. He's out in front, where he wants to be, and now he's just got to knuckle down, get into a good rhythm, get the tyres up to temperature. And as you can see just back here, Simon Wills got a lot of room to make up. He's already on a charge. I wouldn't be surprised by the end of this lap. He's right up there with the tail end of the first guys.
You've been campaigning your Ford Falcon V8 supercar around the streets of Adelaide here this weekend for the Clipsal 500. It's a street circuit that's notoriously tough. What would it be like in a Formula Holden?
Probably very bumpy. It's something these cars don't have a lot of, or anywhere near the amount of suspension travel or movement that a V8 supercar has. But these guys, they've got a lot of downforce. They're much quicker than us in the sense that they can corner a lot faster. Probably don't have the horsepower or the top speed, but very exciting car. And every young person aspires to go overseas, drives these car, and it's a great category.
The meat in the sandwich here is Emerson Newton-John, who started right from the rear. He's just almost at the tail of this group now in the NRC Racing entry. We jump back aboard with our leader. Listen to the awesome sounds of that Formula Holden. Oh, he's in trouble. Rick Kelly's in trouble. He's had a moment coming through the centre chicane. That allows Stuart McCall to go through. Alan Gurr as well. Oh, and lucky not to get hit there, Craig.
Oh, definitely. As you heard, going down through the gears, it's a sequential car.
Oh, there's a moment there for a couple of others as well. Newton-John, by the looks of it. And a few others taking evasive action. Rick Kelly rejoins the field, but he's well down. And the Singaporean driver, Christian Murchison, is just ahead of them in the Hocking Motorsports entry. Wow, that was a very nervous moment.
Definitely. I don't know whether we'll get a replay, but this car is a sequential gearbox. It's virtually like a motorbike. It just goes up and down the same way for the gears. He just clipped the curb going into that first chicane, and I think it just upset him a little bit and spun him around. Very, very lucky not to have any contact with the wall or any other competitor. Terry Clearahan having a moment as well. Kelly gets past Emerson Newton-John. Now let's take another look at that. This is the centre chicane. Yeah, definitely just clipped the curb on the entry, which is really upset him on the mid-corner. See the spin here. He's able to keep it on track, straightened it up, and there you see Simon Wills already up to fourth. Well, he's in third now, but very, very lucky. He's obviously got the engine stalled. He started it up. Now, Terry Clearahan raises his hand there to let the others know what's going on. He takes evasive action in car 27 and furious with Rick Kelly in the process. Boy, oh boy, that could have been much worse than it was. Up in front, Stuart McCall doing a terrific job. He is under siege, though, from Simon Wills, who started out at grid position 10. He's gotten around young Alan Gurr in the Konica Telecel Reynard. So, Simon Wills, who's making one of 2 appearances for the season in Formula Holden. Don't forget, he's a 2-time Gold Star champion. He's back with the Barana Racing team for this round and for the round at Hidden Valley. And the effect is immediate. He's driving the car that Leroy Stevenson campaigned for this team last year over the start-finish line, and McCall is really under siege here. Well, definitely. Simon had a bit of bad luck in the first race. He's started a lot further back than he'd ever wish or wanted, and now he's making amends for it. I think that he's got the good terminal speed, good car setup. I don't think he'll be in second for very long. McCall, the 21-year-old, a Formula Ford graduate, leading the way. Here's Emerson Newton-John, just ahead of Christian Murchison, and the man that leads them is last year's Silver Star champion, Peter Hill, in the M111 Racing Reynard. A car that's largely fiddled by Greg Murphy's father, Kevin. Back at the head of things, here is Simon Wills throwing out a challenge to McCall. McCall shuts the door. Good job by Alan Gurr to stay in touch with these guys, a guy that hasn't had a lot of experience in open wheelers of this nature. Well, definitely. This circuit is probably not the easiest or the nicest circuit to come to in your early stages, especially with Formula Holden. As you see, clip a curve and you can either end up in the wall or having a bad accident, and some of the drivers have encountered that. Simon Wills here just trying to find a way around. He's struggling a little bit. Oh, McCall! Now, did Simon Wills damage his tyre in taking the nose cone off Stuart McCall? Not sure. He's done a lot of damage there, Stuart McCall. He's going to struggle now with front end. Oh, very lucky there. He's trying to get out of the way, but almost got himself in trouble. McCall campaigned in Formula Ford last season. A guy with a lot of pace, has been very quick from the moment he joined the NRC racing team. Just ahead of his teammate Emerson Newton-John now. Rick Kelly has managed to get up the inside as well. Let's have another look at this. As you can see, just trying to get on the throttle probably a little bit early than he liked. Spun around. Simon did a great job to avoid him. Be interesting to see whether he's got any tyre damage on Simon's car, but you see the end plate of that front wing bent over. That's going to really cause him a lot of trouble with aerodynamics. Doesn't seem to have slowed Simon Will's progress. He's continuing to lead the way in the Barana Racing Reynard. And in second position, Alan Gurr, who I thought read that incident particularly well. He backed off nice and early and stayed well clear of it. Well, pretty much, Simon's kept out of trouble. I guess a little bit disappointing if he has any tyre damage. It doesn't look like it. He seems to be running at his normal pace. You can see the car bouncing around a little bit. This circuit is very bumpy. Used to be the old Formula 1 circuit, and everyone loves this circuit, especially in open wheelers. So these guys are doing a great job. A real mixture of experienced drivers and rookies this weekend. Here's a guy in his rookie season, missed out on the Formula Ford Championship title by just 1 point last year, the youngster from Mildura. This is Rick Kelly, a driver that they are touting as having a big future. Let's have a listen. Really hard into that final hairpin.
at the end of the brake straight. Gee, they brake very late there too.
Oh, they do. Well, the downforce that these cars create, it's awesome. They're unbelievable cars. And a lot of the drivers wear knee pads and elbow pads. A little bit of damage to the front end of this one as well. They just sort of get buffeted around inside these monocoques.
Christian Murchison, that is, and this has not been a good weekend for him. After qualifying, they tipped the scales on this car, and would you believe it, he was marginally underweight. That forced him to the back of the grid for race 1. And now problems with the front nose cone and wing in race 2. So not a good weekend for the former West Australian driver, who's backed by a Singaporean consortium of companies. Look at this. Now that's Emerson Newton-John going off there, so he's another driver to have a rotten weekend. Had a big crash at the centre chicane in qualifying. And in race 2, the situation hasn't improved. Up in front, 19-year-old Alan Gurr in second position he is at the moment. Rick Kelly, who you ride with, is in third. Rick driving the car that Simon Wills used to win last year's championship. Back by Holden, the Holden Young Lions driver. Rick Kelly, last lap. Simon Wills has just started it. These guys will get the final lap board this time around. Alan Gurr, can he hang on to second position in the Telecel Konica entry? Look at Kelly, left and right, dives down the inside of the centre chicane and holds him out. Boy, a rough run over the curbs there.
Oh, definitely. Poor Rick had nowhere to go. He ran right down the inside there, but, you know, probably would have done a little bit of damage to the bottom end of these cars. They're only like about an inch or 2 inches off the deck, so very lucky not to have another spin, but he's managed to pull it off.
Alan Gurr driving for Ralt Australia in the Reynard 94D. It's the car that was campaigned by Matthew Halliday during last year's championship. Halliday looking to do bigger and better things this season in the Indy Lights Championship in America. Rick Kelly in second, but his teammate Simon Wills has cleared right out of here, and he leads the way in this one. Alan Gurr, can't speak highly enough of the performance for the 19-year-old, doing a terrific job there in third. Has had minimal time in Super Touring and Formula Holden, and a really good drive from him. But what about this? He returns to the Formula Holden ranks with devastating effect. Simon Wills takes it out for the Barana Racing crew. This year he's spending his time as a full-time V8 supercar pilot for Team Dynamic in the Konica Series. But Simon Wills wins the second race in round 2 of the Formula Holden Australian Drivers' Championship, right down to the wire for second. Rick Kelly takes it out from Alan Gurr. Oh, and the weekend for Emerson Newton-John goes from bad to horrible, or worse if that's possible. He's gone off with a handful of corners to go, and the American will be livid about that. Not quite sure what has caused that to happen. Let's have another look here, Craig.
He ran a bit wide here, and as soon as you hit these curbs, as you see, the front wheels lifted off the deck. Would have had no steering whatsoever, and just the tyre wall stopped him. But I'm not sure why he ran wide initially. It's sort of, as I said, these cars are very, very low to the ground. As soon as he hit that curb, he just would have lost control.
He may have gotten in there a little hot. There was no contact with Terry Clearahan, that's for sure. Clearahan finishes in 6th. Simon Wills takes it out from Rick Kelly and Alan Gurr. Stuart McCall, who was our early race leader, recovers to finish in 4th. Let's go trackside and have a word to our winner.
Well, Simon Wills, you just proved why you love these cars, but you've come out here in the second race and absolutely blissed them. What a drive from the back to the front, and broke the track record.
Yeah, it was hard work, you know, just racing against the clock there. But the first few laps was spent just trying to get a few positions back from 10th. And it was quite hard because Stewie was defending really well, and I didn't know where to try and take him. But I figured out a bit of a plan to try and get him by the end of the race. But he spun in front of me, and I just collected his nose. And I was actually thinking, oh no, my tyres popped or something. I was, oh, this can't happen again. But no, I went ahead and just raced the clock and got a real great time in there.
Yeah, good performance. Rick Kelly leads the championship after 2 rounds by 25 points from Stuart McCall. Peter Hill in 3rd, just ahead of Christian Murchison. And Alan Gurr, that solid drive, sees him 5th, just 2 points adrift of Christian Murchison. Stay with us here on Trackside. After the break, it's all the action from GT Performance on the streets of Adelaide. Back in a moment.